Hello and welcome everybody. Today I'm going to be doing a run through in Legacy, a bit different. Finally put together um, a a deck that caught my eye. As you see before you, it is a let's get it up here. It is a combo deck that combines two pretty popular combos in the Legacy scene. A Reanimator, which you can see Entomb, Reanimate, Exhume, um, discard outlets, and then your typical fatty Grizzlebrand, as well as Grave Titan and Platinum Angel, to kind of Platinum Angel mostly against Storm. Really, really good in that sense. In other cases, also pretty good, but I found it pretty much only really good in the Storm matchup. Grave Titan, just for some value. This is really good against Death and Taxes and other kind of other disruption decks that are well suited to kind of beat up Grizzlebrand. And then the other combo is Vampire Hexmage and Dark Depths, kind of a turbo depths package, and then Lotus Petals and Dark Rituals to accelerate out one of these combos. Thoughtseize to protect the combo or clear the way, and then Pithing Needle just to get rid of any really pesky permanents, mostly like a Deathrite Shaman or something. Caracas it can hit, Wasteland it can hit. So all of the problem permanents that appear, Pithing Needle can help clear the way for us to get ahead. Probably the most interesting card is Rite of Consumption. Serves as kind of an alternate win. So if you can get if your opponents are playing swords often, or something like a Caracas, then the Dark Depths combo gives you 20/20 Merit Lage. But if your opponent can stop it somehow, then Rite of Consumption, you sack Merit Lage, and it deals 20 damage to your opponent's face, and you also gain that life. This also is handy for well, that's pretty much it. So in those those instances where you can make a Merit Lage but can't really get through with it, this comes to save the day. Shallow Grave for more instant interaction as well. In the sideboard, you have an alternate combo, Leyline of the Void, which is like other ley lines. Put it on the game, or put it on the battlefield at the beginning of the game if it's in your opening hand, and then it exiles cards from your opponent's graveyard. And then along with that is Helm of Obedience, which you can combo with Leyline of the Void to put cards into your opponent's graveyard, but since they never actually hit the graveyard, if you have them both out, pay one, tap it, and it exiles your opponent's entire deck. This alternate combo comes in case they have both of your main combos covered, so things like Death and Taxes can be kind of hard to get through damage. In grindier matchups, this is good. And then Leyline of the Void also serves as against Dredge and other Reanimator strategies. And then other cards, Surgical, Duress, Fatal Push, a few Lilianas also serve as alternate win conditions, just in case the matchup is a little grindier. And then Ratchet Bomb and Engineered Explosives help get rid of problem permanents on your opponent's side of the field. So things like Elves, which is a faster combo deck, this little bit of disruption can go a long way in eventually getting a Grizzlebrand out, which can then take over the game. But overall, it's been a really, really fun deck. I don't know exactly how good it is, but it's definitely got some gumption, and it's a blast to play and really fun to watch, which is why I thought I'd share it with you guys. So, with that said, that pretty much covers it. Any other questions, feel free to let me know. I picked up this list. This is not my list. I picked this up from a Japanese player that I saw the deck highlighted on MTG Goldfish. I cannot remember the name of the player, but I saw it and was like, "Yep, that's my type of game." So, hopefully you enjoy the videos, and I'll see you guys for the first match. All right, here we are with the first match with our Depths Reanimator. Yes, we would like to go first. Thank you very much. So with this deck, the most important thing is opening hands. So the mulliganing. This one, we have fast mana and a piece of each of our combos, but nothing really to do with them, which means Dark Ritual doesn't really do much, and so it's essentially like a mulligan anyway. Thespian Stage and Urborg are a good combo, but overall this hand is decidedly meh, and we need good hands, and we can mulligan decently. So here again, we have two different pieces of the combo, a couple Thespian Stage and Urborg, a Lotus Petal, but we are on the play. We do get a Scry, which could make this slightly better. I think we can keep, and we will put Dark Depths on top. So, ooh, Chancellor of the Annex, huh? So our opponent is also on Reanimator. So this is pretty good. Chancellor of the Annex counters the first spell unless we pay 1, and we're just going to pay 1 for a Lotus Petal since we have really nothing else to do. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a combo right away, but if they do, they do. So now we draw Dark Depths. We get to play Hex Mage. Now our opponent has to reanimate something in order to stop this Dark Depths from killing them. So see what the opponent does. They might just be able to go reanimate or end of turn Entomb, and then a reanimate effect, something like that. But if they play the 2 mana one, which allows both of us to entomb is fine, allows both of us to return, we can actually entomb in response and kind of steal this. So this is why I like this deck, especially against Reanimator, because it gives us one way to do it, which is pretty solid. But you also get to play some cheat cards, which can can really just surprise your opponent. There's nothing like entombing in response to Animate Dead. Well, we can't really do anything against Animate Dead. If it was ours, Exhume. If it was Exhume, then we would have got him, but it is not. It was not Exhume. It was Animate Dead, which is better. Like the Lotus Petal, they might be able to get really far ahead. Sack Lotus Petal for black, Dark Ritual. Ooh, the good art of Dark Ritual. That's pretty solid. Another Entomb. I wonder what they're going to get. They get Tidespout Tyrant. They play Exhume. So now, I'm trying to think of what we can get. We can entomb in response. We can probably get our own Grizzlebrand. Platinum Angel doesn't really do anything. Grave Titan does very little. Another Hex Mage does very little. It's not looking good because Tidespout Tyrant is a really good comeback from that. However, with our own Grizzlebrand, we might be able to pull ahead. Returns Grizzlebrand. We'll draw 7. Let's see. Collective Brutality. I think we'll definitely just draw 7 more. They can't kill us this turn, so. I was really hoping to draw our one of, but oh well. Yeah, we're just gonna let this stuff happen. There's not too much we can do anyway. Like, we could have sacked this in response, made a thing, but then if he has something to return this, like, it doesn't matter. Sure, returns Urborg. It is not looking good for us, but that's alright. They can take something from us. I'd probably take like Dark Ritual or Lotus Petal. We have so many things. Our choking point is fast mana to get out our things. Really? I guess they don't. Well, I guess they don't want to haste out something. Now we have 2 collective brutalities. Entomb, return, Hexmage, sure. They can entomb a Chancellor, and then we're probably probably just done. Or like get out of Chancellor somehow. They don't, which means they're dead. I believe. They have no mana, and they're at 3, so... They have an Iona. Well, that would have been better. Iona's really bad for us. Ooh, we have a Reanimate. So, should just be... Land... Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, might as well discard, doesn't really matter. Yeah. Take their own collective brutality. And there we go. Alright. So found the line, ended up taking that one. So now sideboarding gets pretty good for us. Leyline of the Void we definitely want. Liliana of the Veil can be pretty good. That should be solid. It's really about who gets there first, which is why this is really only a maybe. It can, like if they reanimate something, it can kill a Grizzlebrand or whatever they reanimate, but mostly they're probably going to go for Iona, and we have 5 really good cards against them. Duress could also not be terrible, but Pithing Needles don't really do anything. If they get a Grizzlebrand out, like you saw, we kind of get it anyway. Exhumes aren't very good on our side. Reanimate can snag their creatures, and likewise Entombs are not very good. Platinum Angel is not very good. Bringing this to rest. It's probably better than nothing. Shallow Grave, actually, if they somehow... They play Thoughtseizes, so they can Thoughtseize our Grave Titan, even if we have Leyline of the Void, or like our Grizzlebrand, and then reanimate ours. But in response, we can Shallow Grave. So Shallow Grave is pretty good. Rite of Consumption isn't really good or bad. Usually if we get the Depths combo, we're winning anyway. But it's better than most of these other things. Helm of Obedience kind of takes too long. Might not be better than... Pithing Needle just doesn't really do anything. It only stops Grizzlebrand. Yeah, so... We'll just try it like that. We've got a lot of good sideboard cards in this matchup. And here, like, we'll want to mulligan towards... Like, we really want to see a Leyline, but we don't want a Leyline and bad things. So, like, here, our spell is Exhume. Like, we could take... The thing is, they can just, like, Entomb get us, you know? Like, we can also Entomb get them if they have Exhume. They've probably taken it out. We have 2 mana sources. I think this is a pretty easy mulligan. This hand is also garbage, so this hand is also a mulligan. This hand is also bad. But probably better than going to 4. We don't have a mana source, so we may just end up eating it. But if we can find 2 mana sources, see, the bad thing about all those hands is they were all bad. Every single one, so... Well... I'm going to play Dark Depths and cry. Just cry a little bit. It's probably more correct to get a 4. But we have a lot of draws out. Dark Ritual. Entomb. For Grizzlebrand. Animate Dead. Alright. Probably not gonna try and play against that one. That you see the downside of this deck is that sometimes you just have nothing. There's just nothing to do, and so sometimes your draw is amazing, sometimes it's awful, and you can't do anything about it. So this hand, however, a little bit of hate, a little bit of disruption in some of our combos. So even though this doesn't have a ley line, this is likely a keep. So here, since we have Thoughtseize, we're just going to run it into the Chancellor. Again, there's some argument for running Entomb into it, but either way, we want to run one of those. Since we have 2 Thoughtseizes, Thoughtseize really just kind of buys time. Faithless Looting. I really want to have the Surgical up. That was mostly it. Chancellor and Grizzlebrand. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, baby. And now we will reanimate their own. Probably just Grizzlebrand. Well, yes, we will draw many cards. I'm gonna duress here. Probably should have done it first, but so they can Thoughtseize. They can Entomb Reanimate. I don't think I actually care about the Thoughtseize. Because, like, what are they gonna do? Like, we'll Surgical in response, get rid of Chancellor, and then they have nothing. And if we take Thoughtseize, then they can Entomb Reanimate, which is bad for us. They have 3, yeah. So we're just going to take Entomb. They have 3 reanimation spells, and so we'll have to make sure we don't reanimate anything too crazy, or give them anything to reanimate. So we're gonna ditch Exhume. We have 9 cards in hand. Exhume, probably a Swamp. We don't really need a Swamp. And probably Thoughtseize. Maybe we want some level of disruption. Like, what are we taking of theirs, though? Probably, like, Reanimator, Animate Dead. If we do Thoughtseize. We can, like, get up and ley line, though. Maybe we do just pitch Hex Mage. Yeah. Because if they reanimate Hex Mage, whatever, you know. Not that big of a deal. Now they go Bloodstain Mire. And, like, Chancellor is good, but against a Grizzlebrand, like, what does it do? Not too much. Animate Dead. We Surgical. They have a Blood Moon. That's actually good to know about. Get rid of those Chancellors. I think we're just gonna take Grizzlebrand all the way here. So I think just dropping this ley line, because they have these. So next turn they Thoughtseize. So like we could Thoughtseize the Blood Moon away in case they draw a land. But if they draw a land, then like things are really not going well for them anyway. So I'm just going to drop this. Now that we have the swamp too, things are better. Don't really need to draw cards right now. The Faithless Looting. And Scoop, alright. Well, there was the first match. You can see how it's actually pretty interesting and just kind of fun. Like, it's fun to reanimate stuff. It's kind of fun to think through the complicated lines and everything. So I'll see you guys for another match. All right. We are now in match 2. This hand suffers from pretty much the same thing. We do have a turn 3 Grave Titan, but really nothing else. This hand is pretty weak to Disruption into a counterspell. But it is potentially a turn 1 Grizzlebrand. I don't think we want Grave Titan. There's a Git Probe. If this is Storm, then we're sitting all right. Unless they turn 1 us. Or if they hit Cabal. They probably do a discard here, which would make sense. They don't. They do not. This could still be Storm, a slow Storm. Could also be a control deck. Let's see. Do we want to burn this Dark Ritual? Or do we want to just entomb? I feel like we at least tried a Dark Ritual. The reason being, opponent could counter this. Probably won't. We'll try Entomb. Opponent might counter that. Doesn't look like they're going to, though. I think we'll get Grizzlebrand. Opponent may be playing Daze. Probably not. If opponent does Daze, then we're pretty much in the same boat and we can reanimate. It's probably worth exhuming just to keep our life total high in case this is Storm. Okay, well, opponent scoops at that, so I believe then this is probably Storm. And the Veil can be good against Storm. Can also be kind of bad. It is more disruption though, and we mostly want disruption. They're ad nauseum tendrils. They may bring in empty the Warrens, but I kind of doubt that. I think we for sure want these. Let's see. Pithing Needles are bad against Storm. Right doesn't really matter. Collective Brutality, Thoughtseizes are really good. Shallow Grave is kind of meh. So we can bring in 2 ley lines. These are really bad draws, but they're all right in our opener. Just because it cuts off one of their lines, they kind of have to go ad nauseum. Might slow them down enough. I wonder if a Liliana is just better at that. Because if we can go like, if you can Dark Ritual Liliana, that's likely just game. Like, it's really hard for them to fight through that. So they have to spend resources to sculpt the hand, and we're disrupting it the whole time. Is it better than a ley line, though? What else could we bring in? We put the Shallow Grave back. I don't know how much that does. Anything else bad? Maybe Adepts. Maybe Titans. Do something like that. I think that's fine. Grave Titan can be a really good clock against them. That's a mulligan. This is a keep. An exhume. I think we want that. Doesn't mean our surgical's kind of like meh, but in case they happen to be like reanimator of their own, it can be okay. Yeah, this really does. This is screaming Storm at me. Now what Leyline does is it doesn't stop everything they're doing. It can just give us enough time. And so so I'll just run the swamp out. No disruption, which is a little annoying. Even though we kept this, but if we can draw a Collective Brutality. Yeah, I don't know. of many other decks that run Gitaxian Probe. Unless they're Pyromancer. And this so far has just been straight black, so. Oh, there's red. Maybe this is Grixis Control? Sure. Probably going to name Exhume. Leyline doesn't really help. This is the bad thing about multiple ley lines. Maybe we should have left a Grave Titan in. Ah, so this is a young Pyromancer list. Okay, well, now we know we have to sideboard differently. This is indeed not Storm. Unless they brought in young Pyromancers. Deathrite Shaman. Yeah, we sideboarded it all sorts of wrong for this matchup. There's a Collective Brutality. Wish we had Exhumed to go with it, but Force of Will, Surgical. I think we'll leave the two forces. All we really need is a Dark Depths, honestly. Volcanic. Well, now they can hard cast the Force of Wills. Another reason to leave them with the Force of Wills. There's a Hex Mage. I think they have to force this. They can't just hard counter it. Yeah. Ooh, Collective Brutality. Fortunately, this does there's definitely something to be said about holding it because we cut our clock short by a turn. But worth it. Oh, that's right. We put the opponent on something completely different. So Leyline of the Void and Surgicals are not very good. Neither is Liliana. Do you want the Pithing Needle? We want EE Ratchet Bomb and a Fatal Push, I think. Platinum Angel is probably not super great. We'll go with a Grave Titan. Probably gonna have Surgicals. Fatal Push over a Pithing Needle. We'll go like that. Yes, we would like to play first. Well, we've got a good way to tear apart their hand. This is really just missing a reanimation spell. Urborg, Thought Sneeze. Brainstorm, Ponder, Flusterstorm, Force, Snap, Young Pyro. I only have one land. If they didn't have Brainstorm and Ponder, might take that. Snapcaster is annoying. Flusterstorm isn't as annoying. I might take Force, because, like, this Collected Brutality, they tap out for it. We can just kill the Pyro. What are we going to do next turn? Maybe Entomb? I think it's the Force. We could Entomb now. I don't think that's going to do much. The Underground Sea. Yeah, see, they're going to hold on to these cantrips. At least Brainstorm. It's not a bad draw. I think we're just going to pass, though. You might use this Entomb to bait something out. There's a Brainstorm. There's Ponder. I wonder what they shuffle away. I'm guessing they probably still have Flusterstorm because they're holding it up. Chooses to not shuffle. Sure. There is the Exhume. Might want to wait a turn, because next turn they probably play land, Young Pyro. End of turn, we'll probably Entomb. You could go for it now. They probably only have a Flusterstorm. They might not. I think we just want to wait. Play Young Pyro. Let's see. I think we want to Entomb now. I think I'd much rather have a, like, Grave Titan's good, but I'd much rather have a Grizzlebrand, if we can get it. Okay. So what this tells me, because they don't have Flusterstorm up, so they probably have a Surgical and or a Force. So EE is pretty good. Maybe just play EE on 0. And I didn't think it'd prompt anything. Discard Grave Titan. An opponent might force this. I think now we go for Exhume, because if they have Surgical, they can get rid of the Grizzlebrand, but then we get the Grave Titan. If they get rid of Grave Titan, then we get the Grizzlebrand. They go with the Grave Titan. So they think they can beat a Grizzlebrand. Do they have 2? They don't. Because they had Edict. Which we're going to take. And they just scoop it up at that. So they were banking hard on that Diabolic Edict to get them through, which is, I don't think, the worst play, because we get a Grizzlebrand back, we get cards, and otherwise they could Edict and they wouldn't get rid of, they could get rid of the Grizzlebrand, but then they probably wouldn't be able to beat Grave Titan. So after a bad sideboarding, well, I don't know if it's bad, unlucky that we only saw so much, and I sideboarded heavily, assuming it was a deck, which probably was the downfall. Might have been the mistake there, but if it was Storm, then we would have probably easily taken game 2. But instead we re-sideboarded and were able to take the third game. So second match with that's Reanimator. See you for the last one. Alright, here we are for the third and last match I'm going to do with Legacy Reanimator, at least for today. Maybe come back and explore it later, since it is a really fun deck. But we will go first. We have Entomb, Hexmage. So we have both of the combos, actually. So pretty easy keep. And if one doesn't work out, then we have the other. I'm going to wait on Entomb. Lotus Petal. Ooh. This one might be Storm or Legacy Reanimator. So they've got an Entomb to get a Griselbrand. They have Reanimate. They do. We're also going to Entomb our own Griselbrand. In this case, Shallow Grave actually works really well because the opponent will have to block. So we'll get a lot of cards. Pithing Needle. That doesn't do too much. So now what I think we want to do, we only have one Dark Ritual. I was going to say we could play Grave Titan. I wanted to target the opponent's Griselbrand here because there are cards like Exhume is not an out for him anymore. They pretty much have to steal my Griselbrand. If they do get an extra 7, then that could be bad, but yeah, I can't think of anything that we want to do. I think we can get rid of... We only have one Dark Depths. I don't think the needles do too much. I might keep one just in case. I don't really need Urborg since we have a bunch of stuff. Definitely don't need a lot of these lands. One more card. Probably don't actually need this swamp. And we'll just keep the rest just in case. Opponent faithlessly loots. trying to dig for an answer, probably. I don't know what they could get here. I mean, they could reanimate their own Gristlebrand. Or, I guess, Tidespout Tyrant. Puts them down to 3. They can cast a couple spells. I don't know how good it's going to do, though. Reanimates our Vampire Hex Mage. Goes to 1. There's Entomb. We have our Gristlebrand, which we can't do anything about. Vampire Hex Mage. Well, we might have just lost this one. Opponent had the right cards there. I think the only thing to do is Hex Mage Dark Depths. Hope that's enough. Hope the opponent doesn't have 2 spells. Entomb doesn't get us anything we can use. Unfortunately, we have this Reanimate. If we had Exhume, things would be a little bit better. Tidespout Tyrant is just a better card. Wish we could have got that one. So yeah, I think it has to be Hex Mage, Dark Depths. Pass a turn. Okay. Very confused by what just happened. I guess they had no other spells? I don't know, that was weird. Either way, I guess we won that one, so... hooray us. So similar to last time, bring that package in. Pithing Needle does nothing. Platinum Angel. Rite of Consumption can technically kill. Isn't very good. Exhumes are bad. So we'll go like that and see if we can't do it again. Alright. This hand actually doesn't look too bad. So we're going to keep that puppy. Lotus Petal, Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Are you just going to cast a Grave Titan? That'd be sweet. Or even cast a Grizzlebrand? I have nothing to say about that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, he has to take Surgical, so might as well let him. Surgical does nothing, so. Yeah, opponent had the turn 1. Nothing we can do about that. That's likely game. It's possible we should have mulliganed a little bit more, but we had disruption and stuff, so if he didn't have the turn 1, I think we were well set up. Oof. Can we survive long enough? No. Alright, well, opponent gets that one. Good thing about these is they don't take very long. So we'll submit and try again. Hopefully get a better hand. Perfect. I don't even care. Actually, this hand's just pretty good regardless. I'm going to keep this Collective Brutality. There's nothing we really want to do with it. Yeah, opponent can Thoughtseize it away, but takes to Reanimate. It's alright by me. Is there any sense in Collective Brutality here? Probably not. Like, opponent has discard, he has discard. We'd probably grab it anyway, and I'd rather save this for when we get something to reanimate. Tomb, Chancellor. Must have drawn a Chancellor then. Like this. Oh wait. Never mind. So we still need a reanimation spell, but actually now I probably should have brutality'd, but there's always time. Oh yeah, that's better. We can Thoughtseize, see what's going on. Enemy dead. Reanimate. Surgical of their own. Enemy dead doesn't have flash, right? Okay. I mean, neither does Reanimate, but both of these hit cards in our graveyard. So I think we have to take Surgical. And just remember that the opponent can grab something from our graveyard. So I have to be a little more careful. Alright, Urborg. Collective Brutality doesn't really do anything because both of these cards do the same thing. So we're not really worried. And if we draw a Grave Titan, now we can just cast it. So we'll just save it, bide our time till we need to. We'll wait a few turns till we draw something relevant. Thoughtseize. That's too bad. Sure. Thoughtseize taking Tomb. Thoughtseize take Collective Brutality. That's bold. Well, our drawing is on point. This Dark Ritual no longer matters. On point. Find another Thoughtseize? They're gonna kill themselves. Good, good. More lands, always good. Like, literally any non-land card in our deck is a live draw. So, with my luck, we're just going to keep drawing lands for a while. And then the opponent's going to find a way out of this ley line. Okay. Okay. Entomb, Reanimate. I don't think the opponent could have much. I'm just going to go for it. I mean, we have Surgical in case things go very wrong. Is Griselbrand or Grave Titan better? Grave Titan gets a clock. Griselbrand gets his cards, though. If opponent had Bolt, I would have felt really dumb. But anyway, so that's the deck. It's probably all for today. So I hope you enjoyed those matches. I know 2 of them are the same, and they're good matches for us. So hopefully in the future we'll get one with a little more diversity. But in the meantime, hope you enjoyed the deck. We'll see you next time.